Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, ghouls and monsters, frightmares of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Binging Barbie. I'm your host, John, and with me I have my co-host. What are you doing here, Jay? Geek Hall is like over that way.
Fine.
Anyway, this is a podcast about movie tie-ins for toy franchises. And this week we are continuing our deep dive into the Monster High series. Yes, this is 13 Wishes.
Yeah, this was released October 8th, 2013, directed by Steve Sachs. We've talked about him a lot, co-director on Why Do Ghouls Fall in Love, among other Monster High movies. Written by Mike Montesano and Steve Zissek. Once again, they've been writing all of these, so we're familiar with their names. Art direction by Byron Lebo. He started doing art direction on the last one, returning here. Music, once again, by Steven Argula. Again, he's been doing the music for quite a while. We do have a new theme song, though, written by Allison Bloom and Gabriel Mann and performed by Madison Beer. Now, you might recognize the names Allison Bloom and Gabriel Mann. Allison Bloom wrote a couple episodes of Barbie Life in the Dream House, and Gabriel Mann did a lot of the soundtracks for the Barbie movies.
Yeah, those names were familiar. I just couldn't place them where.
Yeah.
But yeah, story time for what this film entails.
So, alright, oh yeah. So, Holleen is getting bullied by a vampire student at Monster High, and she tries pulling a big stunt to try and make herself more popular in Monster High, but when it fails, she gets sent to detention. She ends up cleaning up the attic of Monster High where she finds an old lamp, and when she rubs it, a genie named Gigi pops out and promises Holleen 13 wishes. Holleen initially uses her wishes to help other people. Despite this, she is still getting bullied. And after one incident, a mysterious shadow begins manipulating Holleen's thoughts, convincing her to wish her to become popular. And Holleen starts to get more selfish with her wishes. Claudine confronts her, but the mysterious shadow convinces Holleen to wish her Claudine to disappear. The other ghouls notice what's been happening and ask Gigi what is happening. Turns out the shadow is actually Gigi's shadow wisp, who manipulates the people to find the lamp in an attempt to get unlimited power. She's at her strongest during the eclipse, which is only days away. And Gigi also reveals that Claudine has been banished to the hidden realm inside the lamp. This also happens to be the place where 13 pieces of the mirrors that can break Holleen out of Wish's influences are kept. Frankie, Draculaura, and Ghoulia confront Holleen to get themselves banished to the lamp. Inside, they team up with Claudine to find the mirror. Meanwhile, Holleen starts using her wishes to take over Monster High, turning the students into sycophants and banishing the ones who don't comply. The ghouls find 12 of the pieces of the mirror, but Frankie realizes a wisp is keeping a final piece with her. The ghouls leave the lamp and go to confront Wisp. Just as the eclipse begins, they reassemble the mirror and break Holleen from the spell just in time. Holleen realizes that Wisp just wanted to be a genie, while Gigi was actually getting tired of the gig and wants to join Monster High. She uses her last remaining wishes to undo all the damage she did and get Gigi and Wisp all they wanted.
Okay.
Is that your do it or die trying voice?
Yes, that I died trying. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, this is a classic sort of magic lamp type story. Very sort of common and usually not so much in movies, but often in sort of short stories or TV shows as well, where characters they get a bunch of wishes. Things start out fine, but eventually they realize that the wishes have a catch. Um, Here we have this added element of Wisp's influence, but we also have some of
Yeah.
the wishes just go wrong. Like the boys wish to be at the competition show where they can never
Mhm.
end the competition show. So,
I think this film in particular is inspired by the classic films 16 Wishes, which is 16 wishes over 13, where you blow a
yeah.
candle for each wish, and it's like there's multiple remakes, one with Debbie Ryan by Disney. I don't know which ones, if you ever seen them. But yeah, same thing, except you don't have the evil one.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of 3,000 Years of Longing, which is very different, but that one has a
Mm.
Jin character as well and a bunch of different wishes. Yeah, the interesting thing about this one is that it's centered on Howleen, who's really only been a side character up until this point. We had a bit more of her in Fright On, the 2D animated one. But yeah, here she is, the central figure. She's trying to become popular, which I think is somewhat interesting. It's a common thing in these like kid or high school movies of worrying about popularity and who's popular and wanting to be popular. But eventually it just kind of descends into an all out cult, which is kind of a weird direction for a kids' movie to go, but I thought it was kind of fun.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it was also interesting the looking for the mirror pieces inside the lamp. That felt a bit like a fetch quest in a video game, which
Mm-hmm.
actually there is a 13 Wishes video game, a Monster High 13 Wishes video game, which I have just recently ordered on Amazon, so I'll have to get back on if it's any good. But yeah,
What
that's just
platform is
like
it on?
classic. I got the Wii version. It's Wii and Wii U and 3DS. But the 3DS
Okay.
version, which I would have preferred, that one was significantly more expensive. So went with the Wii version. But yeah, yeah, no, it's odd. I think it worked well here. But yeah, it just did feel a lot like a video game, and I wonder if this was being developed in tandem with the game as like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we want to make a game, we want it to connect back to one of the movies. So can you make something in the movie that will fit into a game? Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting story. I know you don't particularly love it when they stay at Monster High, but I felt like this one at least had a little bit more interesting things going on.
It was much more interesting, at least. Yeah. I was
Yeah,
fine with the story overall for this one.
yeah. I think it does kind of run out of steam near the end of the second act. It's a little long. This is the second of these that are feature length. This one's like 70 minutes long, 75 minutes long. Might actually
Mm-hmm.
be the longest of the. It's definitely the longest we've seen thus far. And I think you kind of feel that length a little bit more. Um, but it does by the third act, it kind of all brings everything back together. So it's not the biggest issue, just kind of a little bit of a disappointment. Like when you're sitting there watching it, you can kind of feel it's dragging out a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like we said in the last movie, the writers are getting really good at juggling all of these characters and plot lines. And just like, because we have so many characters that, and they want to give each character a moment to shine or a line that stands out, or a lot of them get their own storylines. And yeah, each movie we've been seeing a little bit of growth in that regard. And here, it's even better than the last one at that specific thing because everything is tying back into the main plot line. All of the different subplots are directly related to that main plot line. Not all of the subplots get proper resolution, but we're seeing these improvements here. So yeah, I gave the story overall a 3.5 out of 5. I it was good. Not spectacular, but there were a lot of things to admire.
Yeah, and I gave it a 3.3. I think I like the Scarce one slightly more, but yeah, it's better than the average story that we've had. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm looking it up here, sorting these by runtime. Okay, yes. Besides the live action movies and Monster High Haunted, this is the longest of the so the second longest of the animated Monster High movies.
So before we move on to talking about the characters, we wanted to take a second and talk about our brand new Patreon page. It just went live earlier this week, and we already have all kinds of exclusive content, including show notes, our bonus miniseries on the Barbie TV shows, and even early access content to next week's episodes of Monster High, Frights, Cameras, Action. And who knows, maybe there's some other content up there as well. I sure know that I may or may not have been working on stuff. Oh, you have to find out. And by the way, it's only $2 a month to join, and you'll be helping us make this show the best it can be. Please, you like $2 makes all the difference. Technically, $1 would do that too. But hey, it's cheap. It's $2. So anyway, go to patreon.com/binging Barbie podcast and start supporting the show now. That's patreon.com/binging Barbie podcast. Do you want me to say the letters as well?
Yeah, probably should just for
Yeah. So that's again patreon.com/BINGINGBARBIEPODCAST. Go there, support us. $2 a month. You get some content, show notes. Who the heck gives the audience their show notes? I don't know. We're doing it. Check it out. Anyway, let's move on to the characters.
So yeah, next up we have the characters, and we're gonna start with Howleen because she is sort of the central figure. You do feel kind of bad for her. She is getting bullied, and there's that moment with Claudine where Howleen is like, "No, you don't understand," which is a common teenager thing to say. But in this case, like Claudine does not understand what Howleen is going through. Howleen is very right to point out that Claudine is already popular, so she doesn't understand what it's like. I'm kind of surprised they aren't more. They don't hit the point that Howleen is getting bullied more. Like they show it multiple times, but she never says anything about it. But yeah, that becomes sort of a motivation for her, and she has an interesting arc here. I do kind of wish though that they hadn't made it so clear what was Wisp's influence and what wasn't. Because you have a lot of bad decisions that Howleen is making, but throughout they're very careful to make it be like, oh no, this is Wisp influencing her. This isn't actually her. And yeah, I don't know. It would have been nice to have a bit more. Let Howleen make her own bad decisions, at least a few of her own bad decisions. Like
Yeah,
maybe don't have. Go ahead.
If they did that, I would dislike Howleen as a character as even more than I kind of already do. But yeah, because like they go all out. They have a whole cult. She does stuff like some really bad stuff in this.
Yeah.
And like I was kind of disappointed that it was just all mind control. was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, it's like they were gonna have that clean cookie cut ending of like she realizes herself in the mirror and then she wishes everything back. But if they had made it her own decision, that would have been so much worse. Like very quickly enforced. Like, oh, okay. But like, can we trust this character again after doing all this? So having
Yeah.
the safety net of it being the influence, which influence doesn't necessarily mean control, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I just wish there was a little bit more space for complexity there. And I think that might just be, this is a kid's movie, so they want to have clearer good and bad. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it is interesting when she kind of becomes popular and has to now deal with the effects of that. There's a good scene of her trying to juggle all of the different events she has to go to. Um, and yeah, I think there's that interesting moment at the end with the mirror where Frankie is narrating and says, "No one but Howleen knows what she saw in the mirror." And I like that little bit of ambiguity of we don't really know what it is that broke Howleen out of the spell.
But it
I
was
don't think
something.
it's yeah, yeah. I don't think it's too deep. I think they could have done more with that idea, but I mean it's not important
Mm-hmm.
at that point. Yeah. Next up, we have Frankie, who they pointed this out here, and it's something that I've noticed throughout these movies. But I think I'm glad that they're pointing it out here specifically. She's the one who's breaking all of the old traditions. Whenever someone says it's always been this way, she's like, "Why?" Yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
that is an interesting thing for her character since she's the newcomer to the school, even though she's
She's
been
the
there.
optimistic one to a fault, but yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the best thing about her here is that she's the one who actually tries to be friends with Gigi. Everyone else is sort of like, oh, you're the genie who's doing things for Howleen, whatever. But Frankie is actually like walking with her through the halls and be like, hey, let's get to know each other. And that ends up being important for um, the plot of the movie. But it's just that's Frankie's character. She's willing to talk to the people no one else is willing to talk to. So yeah, then we have Claudine, who uh, she just needs to try and understand her sister a little bit better, which I think is a realistic sibling dynamic. But yeah, she's doing that like thing that I don't know. I don't have older siblings, so I have the older sibling who sometimes does this. But maybe you have had this experience of like giving advice to your younger siblings as like, oh, you should do this, you should do that, blah 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 blah. And obviously your younger sibling isn't really going to listen to that advice.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting, though. I think her character, she doesn't have enough of an arc here for me. She doesn't realize the ways she was wrong.
Mm.
Like, oh yeah, her sister was actually being bullied. It's not just, oh, she wants to be popular to be popular. But again, I think the entire rest of the movie kind of ignores that as well. So yeah. Then we have Cleo, who I just liked seeing how she handles suddenly not being popular here. Howleen wishes for her to not be popular anymore. For no one to know her, I think was what it was. So now everyone
Yeah.
treats her like the new girl at school. I kind of wish it had gone a little bit further rather than people recognizing her as the new girl. Like every time they see her being like, hey, I've never seen you before. Now that probably wouldn't have worked entirely well for the plot, but that would have been kind of funny to have Cleo in this position where every time she bumps into someone she knows, they have no idea who she is.
I think they were trying to simplify the magical power of Gigi by just having be a one-time thing versus it being
Yeah.
constantly doing the magic to redo everything again. I don't
I
know if
was thinking
I
more in terms of like
care.
the
I don't know if I would really care if they redid the same thing over and over again. I think the whole "you girl" thing was fine. Like it was kind of
yeah
funny. Like when they kept doing that again later on with Frankie,
yeah
especially with Frankie. Oh, that no, she's fun.
yeah. I was kind of thinking like the aliens in Doctor Who. Is it the silence where every time you look away you forget about them?
Yeah, the silence, sure.
But yeah, I mean, it's still, this is a subversion that adds a lot of depth to Cleo's character. She has to
Hmm.
kind of function without her blanket of security that is her popularity. And she ended up kind of being my favorite character in the movie, just in how it's fun to watch her be frustrated because she's a little bit frustrating. So to see that turned around on her is kind of fun.
And she gets to team up with who was it? Twilight.
Yeah,
That
the Twyla, I think, is the. Oh, I
Twilight.
forgot to add to the
Yeah.
characters here. But yeah, it is
Well,
sort of an interesting dynamic there between the two of them.
yeah. Definitely
I honestly would
entertaining.
have liked to see more. Sorry?
Definitely entertaining.
Yes. Now, Gulia didn't have a ton to do here, but she was actually a big part of the main plot here. She's sort of teaming up with Frankie to go into the lamp.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
Yeah, she kind of
she's
solves things as usual by being the
yeah,
detective.
yeah. Now, Laguna has her own subplot here. I think this is some of the
Hmm.
most we've seen of her in any of these movies. And it's interesting. She wishes that Gil's parents would like her. And rather than changing the parents' minds, it changes her into not only does she become a freshwater monster, she also starts to kind of become a copy of Gil's mother.
It is interesting, but I didn't like the element solely because the
Yeah.
choice of words used to make that wish. The wish was specified towards the parents,
Yeah.
and like I think that what would make this change better if like, oh, I wish that um they would direct it towards more to Laguna to like,
Yeah,
oh,
be a little more clever with the wish, because I was surprised as well when the seashell pops out of the pool. I'm like, wait, are Gil's parents gonna show up here? No, it's Laguna turning
Laguna. I was
into
like,
a
why
freshwater
Laguna?
monster.
Like that's not what I wished for. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I was kind of disappointed every time I saw Laguna after that because it's like, oh, that's just all you have to do is change that one line and that would solve a lot of my problems with Laguna with this film. But yeah, like that
Yeah.
is an interesting idea, but again, they didn't use the right choice of words for that for the wish to make sense to me. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think the her kind of becoming like Gil's mother and kind of going a little bit insane, I thought that was interesting. And even the thing where she's starting to dislike the sea people. I feel like if Laguna were the focus of the story, you could do a lot with that. But obviously she isn't, so it's kind of relegated to the subplot here.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then Draculaura is once again pushing people way out of their comfort zones. She was doing that with the Ghoul's Rule, I think was the one where she was trying to get Claudine to go on a date.
This time it wasn't as awkward or uncomfortable than that one, though.
Yeah. Yeah, here she wants Abby to be president, and Abby doesn't quite want to be president, but she goes along with it. My main complaint with Draculaura here is that she doesn't really learn her lesson.
Okay.
There's no moment of, and that subplot in general has no catharsis at the end of it. It's just kind of,
No.
oh, Abby's not president anymore. Okay. But yeah, speaking of Abby, she gets thrust into a situation she doesn't quite want to be in, where she has to run Monster High and ends up making a bunch of decisions she thinks will improve things, but doesn't really consider how it will make other people feel.
Yeah, there's not much of a resolution for that plot. But hey, Abby was great in the role. She was
Yeah.
being a leader, making the decisions, even though they were bad for the students'
Making,
morale.
yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
hey,
Again,
sure,
I
I'll
think
follow the leader.
I think kind of like the Laguna plotline, but even more so here because there's no resolution. It just feels like this plotline is saying nothing interesting beyond we need
Mm,
something for Abby and Draculaura to do.
right. Um, hey, but at least Abby, when she gets captured, goes right into action, just being cool with her ice powers,
Oh yeah.
saving the day. Like when the whole room was crumbling apart, and it's like, oh no, lava or something. It was like, oh, I know what's gonna come. Abby's gonna come save the day, and then here she busts in and gives one-liners about yaks or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for from the video game. I want to be able to play as Abby and use ice powers. I don't know if it's going to be that kind of game, but we'll see.
Mm.
No, I did want to briefly mention Twyla, who's a new character for this, who I thought was interesting. Both her design and like being this shadowy type monster, and then her relationship with Howleen being this very important tether that lets us know there's something wrong. Yeah, I don't know. It might be interesting to see more of her in other movies. And also, as you mentioned, her teaming up with Cleo.
Yeah, and she was the one who was able to see Wisp in the end and help save the day. But
Yes. Yeah.
I don't feel like there was much resolution with her either.
No, yeah, she doesn't have a moment of reconnection with Howleen at the end. That's big enough.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
But yeah. Gigi is also an interesting character. She's the reluctant genie who you frequently have like the three types of genies or jinn as they would be more traditionally known in these types of stories, where you have like the Robin Williams type where they're just kind of exuberant. Then you have the trickster type who they're trying to get you to waste your wishes. Then you have the reluctant genie who's like, I don't really want to be doing this, but I guess we're doing this. And of those types, I
Mm-hmm.
think this one is the most interesting for Monster High to kind of delve into, specifically with the story being about like, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that there's much beyond that. I do think it will be fun to see her around Monster High. Hopefully, she gets more to do in a later one that isn't being a genie. but I do like that, as things are going bad, she has to stick around in Monster High. She has to still be doing things for Howleen, even though she very clearly does not want to. Like there's just something interesting about that dynamic.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And then there's
next up is
their
Wisp,
opposite
who
side.
she
Yeah.
she's a fun villain. Yeah, she's just kind of manipulating things from the shadows. I think the big
Whispering
issue
evil
with her character
things.
is that she got off. Yeah, she got off way too easily though at the end. Like redemption thing. It was just way too simple.
But did she though? Like, sure, yeah, she's redeemed, quote unquote, and she's a genie. But like, until someone finds her, she's trapped inside that thing for like so long, and she's
Yeah,
enslaved, and like she fell into like the deepest pit of Monster High in the trench. Like,
that's true.
sure, that like she didn't really get off easy. She's trapped down there for so long. She gets to really
But she
live what
got,
it's be like to be a
yeah,
genie.
she got what she wanted. Is I think the thing. Like even if
Yes.
what she wanted doesn't end up being wonderful, she still there's no, yeah,
It was a positive ending for
yeah,
her versus
yeah,
the true meaning, like Jafar got when he became the genie in the end.
yeah. There isn't that sort of dramatic, like the line of unlimited power, itty bitty living space. There isn't that second part of it. It's just the unlimited power.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of when she falls into the pool, but that's even Frankie's like, but eventually someone will find it. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. I did
She'll be
also
found
forget
when
to
she
put on
wants
here.
to be found.
Yeah. Which inside the lamp actually looked kind of nice. Like I wouldn't mind living there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's desert and I hate sand, so I would mind. But of all
Yeah,
the
but
of all
like
the
you go
places
in
to
there,
be
you get a
trapped,
new costume for some reason.
yeah, the costumes look cool. We'll talk about that with animation. I did want to briefly mention the shadow versions of all of the characters we get. I wish we had gotten more of them because it was kind of fun to see them being mean.
I don't know about that, but they looked really cool.
Yeah, especially Abby. Like Abby is
Oh,
already
Abby.
she's already like 2 steps away from being mean. She's very curt and she's very nice about it, but when she flips over to being mean, it's like, oh, she's cooking there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, last up we have the boys who get
The
stuck on their own little
boys.
subplot here of on this
I feel
reality
so
show.
bad for them, honestly.
Yeah, when they're hiding in the garbage cans.
Well,
Every
like that's fine, That's like okay, that's what they're doing. But like you get to be on the show that they want, but they regret it because it's so hard. But I feel so bad because they almost win, but then the wish just gets
oh
rescinded right before they do,
yeah
and that hurts me. It's like oh, no,
yeah
that's just I'm not gonna say uh
yeah
uh.
it stings a little.
Yeah,
I think
no.
it adds. It's fun. It's funny. I think it adds something there that's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's funny for like masochists who, instead of like being tortured, like to watch others be tortured.
So sadists.
Yes. Anyway, I gave the characters a 3.
I gave them a 4. I think the characters are so interesting and the story doesn't always serve them. But again, really, really good job balancing all of these different things and having all of these
Yeah.
subplots actually tie back into the main plot. So, again, a little bit more time might have given us a little bit more depth, but also the movie was already feeling a little bit long. So we'll give them a pass on that. But yeah, next up we have the visuals. And you can tell that this is a full year after the last one. There have been little improvements here or there. Same character models, which we've gone into our issues with that, but the movement is a whole lot more expressive here. Especially like facial movement.
Sure. Yeah, but it's still the same character models.
Yep. And there's just more detail. Yeah, I am hoping that eventually they get new character models, but
Well, updated character models specifically.
yeah,
Even if it's the
yeah,
same design, update the models. Like the Barbie movies, which each film, they're not the same models each film. There's always like some
yeah,
big improvement for the Barbie to update the graphics. With Monster High, I feel like they've been stagnant with the character models for
yeah,
so long, unless there's like some big change that happens. It was really weird at the beginning of the film when they had brand new designs. It's like, oh, is this our new normal design for the monsters? But then out of
I
nowhere, they
know.
just change back to their old design, and it's never really explained. It's like, oh, okay, I'm not
Yeah,
okay. And then they have a new design inside the thing, which is, uh, okay. I guess that makes sense. Whatever.
yeah. I like their costumes, and I love the designs for. I think Gigi and Wisp looked good. The shadow versions of all of the characters we already mentioned look good. Also, the
I
inside
like
of
the
the
shadow
lamp was just
versions,
so
yeah.
cool.
And then
The
there's
like
like,
inside the lamp with like the stars.
mm-hmm.
Uh, like I like the stars that are like clearly not stars. They're just kind of like the star. I don't know how to describe it. It just looked cool, and I mean the whole desert Arabian vibe. That's just kind of fun.
Yeah. But then we have the storybook 2D elements of this film,
Yes.
which are fun. They're good. They're nice. It's not
Yeah.
full on animation, but I mean, it was interesting to look at, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it added to the sense, like the way this starts, where it's like, here's this flashback, and then we get into this, like, the opening credits are over this, like, 2D sort of animation stuff. It made it feel so much more epic. And then I was a little bit disappointed when they're like, okay, now we're going to set the rest of it in Monster High. But yeah, it definitely was a very strong start. And, the rest of the movie was also pretty good.
Hmm. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to talk about something that we haven't talked about that's been
Okay.
a reoccurring gag in each of the films and shows. That
The
nerd.
guy who gets taken by the tentacle.
Yeah, the the hentai that happens in the background of each episode. Like that
That's
poor
not what
guy,
hentai is, John.
it's tentacles.
It is. That's not. Anyway, we don't want to get demonetized. We
No,
can't get
I
demonetized.
know,
Whatever.
but it's like I feel bad for the poor guy. Like he keeps
Oh
taken by
yeah.
this tentacle each episode. I'm like, why? Why is this a reoccurring gag? What happens to that guy? Like, how does he get the class? Why? I don't get it. Is this funny? I'm always so
I think
confused every time I see that.
as they've gone along, there's been funny things. What one of them? I don't remember which one it was. He like was it this one where he tripped and fell, and then the tentacle like picked him up. And like, oh, the tentacle's being sweet and nice to him, and then grabs him anyway.
Hmm.
Don't remember which movie that was, but
Well, in this one, he was pushed by one of the evil characters.
okay. Yeah.
But that guy just can't get a break. Like, his whole life he's being followed by this tentacle thing that pops up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Somebody... I don't know. I'm not going to say anymore. I've said enough. I'm done. I just had to point that out because it's been happening each time, and I'm like, why? I've reached my point. I have to question why.
So yeah, I gave the animation here a 3.5 out of 5. That's a lot lower than I gave the last one. But yeah, the last one just had, since we had a new location, that was a bit more exciting. Here we're once again in Monster High, but I did really like a lot of it.
And I gave it a 3.3.
So yeah, next up we have the performances. I don't have a ton to say about the performances here.
Yeah, no, it did. They did good job for what they do.
Yeah. Just a second here. Do we have someone new as Claudine and Cleo?
I don't think so. They sounded the same.
Let me look that up just to double check before we move on, because we should probably mention that. Wait. What? What? Okay, this must be wrong because it's. Oh, she goes under this name for non-union stuff. Okay, so no, it is the same voice actor.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the performances. So yeah, I gave them a 3.5 out of 5.
So did I. Well, you know the spiel. They
Yeah,
do their jobs.
yeah. I am wondering if we're ever gonna get new actors for the voices, because
Probably
we were
for
getting that a
Gen
lot.
2.
Yeah. Now onto the sound. We have a new theme song. What did you think of the new theme song?
It was weird. But I'll have to see.
Yeah, yeah. I don't disagree that it's a bit odd to hear something new. I I thought it was pretty good, but not quite as good as the original.
I
We'll
mean,
see
I
if
don't
it
really
grows
care for
on
the
me.
original, so I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it's a song. I don't know if it'll stick as the theme for the next few ones. We'll have to see. But
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah. The score, we're once again getting a lot of the same songs. So we do have some new songs, as always happens. It hasn't been bothering me as much as it was back with like Friday Night Frights. So yeah, I gave the sound a 4 out of 5.
and I just continue to give it a 3. It's not as noticeable to me this time.
Yeah, I might actually lower my score to a 3.5 out of 5, because why not?
Yeah. Okay.
Once we get some new songs in here, I think my score can go up. Like consistently new songs. We get new songs every time, but it's not enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, that leaves
Yeah.
me with a final score of 18 out of 25, which is a 72% or a 3.6 on our 5-star scale.
And I have a 16.1, which is a 64.40% or a 3.225 star rating.
Yeah, I'd say this is in the top half of what we've seen so far, but after Scaris, this is a bit of a step down.
Yeah, I mean, it's still good compared to most of the other stuff we've seen, but like Scaris was something for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, you know what they say, John. We'll always have Scaris.
Thank you everyone for listening,
Have you
and make
seen
sure to follow us on
Casablanca?
social media. I have seen Casablanca. Yes. Speaking of Casablanca,
Oh,
we're
good.
Binging Barbie
Okay.
podcast on Instagram and Tumblr, Binging Barbie on Twitter and Serialized, and Binging Barbie and Barbie Movie Podcast and Letterboxd. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review and check out our brand new Patreon over at patreon.com/Binging Barbie Podcast for exclusive content and early access to new episodes. Anyway, we will be back next week with an episode on Monster High, frights, cameras, action, and until then, be careful what you wish for. Toodles.
Bye. Bye, Barbie.